to What's in the Box, episodes of horror with Donna and Eric. I'm Donna,
And I'm Eric.
and today we are going to talk about another movie that shaped our love of horror, and that is The Fly. Um, Great movie. I remember seeing it, I forget when it came out. Um,
86, 85.
yeah, yep,
I think it came out in 86.
yeah. Um, so great movie. And, I just said to you before we started recording, I'm so glad we watched this because let me tell you, the special effects were pretty dang good for being in the 80s.
Yeah, but I think that's because it was a Cronenberg film. If it
Yeah,
wouldn't have been a Cronenberg, I don't think it would have been as good. But he was a wizard of
yeah,
finding the right people to do it.
yeah.
Um, and if I remember correctly, he's Canadian, and so Canada's film um, association they have a heavy hand in what he gets to do and stuff. And so I think they probably give him
Yeah,
access to a whole bunch of stuff that maybe he wouldn't have had if he was doing it himself.
yeah. And so as I was watching the opening credits, I noticed something that obviously I wouldn't have paid attention to back in the 80s, and it has been quite some time since I've seen this movie. But it was actually based on a story by a man named George Lange. I can't say this. It's Langelaan.
Yeah, it's
Um,
a French writer, I think.
Yeah, and so it's in his collection of short stories called Out of Time. And you know me, I've been like, well, now I got to read the short story. I found one copy of this book on eBay for like 600 bucks. So I'm like, well, I guess I will not be reading
Yeah, that's
that
crazy.
story unless I can find another decently priced copy that's under $600.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
no, I don't know. Um, it's funny. This was on constant rotation when I was younger through the 80s.
mhm.
I'm like you, I don't think I've seen it at least 20 years, maybe
Yeah.
25 years. Um, I remember this being pretty pretty scary in the 80s, but I'm not sure I felt that way this time when I watched it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't find it scary. I do remember um being disturbed greatly by the scene where his teeth fall out.
Yeah. No, if you're a fan of body horror, this movie's for you. This has got
Yeah.
so many things in it that'll make you squirm.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. I'm a huge fan of both actors,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure I liked either one of them in this movie. Um,
Really?
yeah, I don't know what to think. Well, I think Gina Davis. I love her, but I was not. I thought she was a little heavy-handed and kind of hammy and wooden in this production. But then I looked up her timeline, and this is like her first time being the star.
Yeah.
So you got to I can accept that. Jeff Goldblum was Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I think what I didn't like mostly was just the way his character was written more than I do his performance. His performance is fine. But um, at this time, they were a couple. And so they do have that kind of dynamic, and that does help it. So, but I don't know. I mean, it was fine. I mean, I'd probably give it a 7 if I was
Yeah.
rating it. It's not. But then I was surprised at how this basically could have been like a play. Like it was like I mean, they have so few sets. You could
Yeah.
have easily had this on the stage, and it would have been an interesting thing.
Yeah, because it
Um,
was her apartment, his loft type warehouse thing,
mhm.
staff's office, and
And then
then
the bar,
the bar and the doctor's office, and that's
yeah.
it. Or
And
the hospital. Yeah.
you could clear a couple things out, but one thing I thought was fascinating was how quickly they got into everything. There was no
Hmm.
build up, there was no
Yeah.
story to it. We didn't need to know. We just, hey, these two people meet, and boom, we're right there, and he's telling us about what he's doing. I kind
Yeah.
of like that. I did like that because I was like, easily if this came out today, you would think, well, you got an hour setting us up who these people are before we even get to the point of the you know,
What?
teleportation or anything. So I
Yeah.
did like the fact that they jumped right into it. So
Yeah. Kind of a little bit too much, not too much, but like a little unbelievable because she's like just meeting this guy for the first time and he's like, "Hey, come back to my lab." You
Right.
know? Now
And then
he was a nice guy. He didn't have any like ill intentions at that point in time. Um,
yeah, but he still kind of was. And but the problem is she's the one with ill intentions.
yeah,
She's there to steal a story, to take a
yeah,
story, write a story about their stuff, and almost all of them are probably working on secret projects. I
yeah,
also thought that was kind of funny. It kind of showed us a glimpse into Seth, how naive he was. The
yeah.
fact that he didn't think she was only there to get the story, because he reacts so crazy when he finds out that
Yeah.
she wants to write about it.
But I think that's normal for people that are supposedly geniuses.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's out of
Yeah,
place. I just thought it
yeah,
was an enduring quality of the character that
yeah,
gets flipped on its head as he becomes more of the monster. And
yeah.
also,
I
I thought,
absolutely loved the like change in his personality.
yeah,
So it's not even just his body is changing, it's his he like completely does a 180 and
yeah,
he like
yeah, he becomes more confident and more aggressive with everything he
hmm
does. And now that I'm thinking about it, I really probably think I only had that problem with her. But
yeah,
I thought, I don't know, like I said, she just came across as very wooden. Some of the scenes where she's crying or screaming, they said they felt so forced and so oh, what is it, unauthentic or whatever.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
that it took me out of it a little bit. But it's a Cronenberg film; those are usually really good,
yeah,
story wise, and this one has a really good story. He knows what he's doing.
yeah. And
Uh,
I hated how she kept Stathis around. Like I know it was integral to the story, but it's like this dude is a walking red flag. He like gets into her apartment and just decides to take a shower, like, and they've broken up, and then he's like following her around when she's at the store buying clothes for Seth. It's like, um, but then he's
yeah,
like the first person she goes to when something, when things start happening. And I'm
which
like,
makes you think that they just broke up. And so then
yeah,
it kind of casts light on Veronica again as her not maybe being the best person.
yeah.
Um,
But they kind of made us feel a little bit like in the beginning that they had been broken up for quite a while.
yeah, you kind of got that idea, but then later as it goes on, like you said, all the other clues makes it sound like or feel like they've been at least close. Close
Yeah,
enough that he didn't have any problem with any of the stuff he was doing.
right.
Like I don't think he was that tone deaf. I think in the past those things might have worked to his favor. I think her meeting Seth probably put her on a different path, but he wasn't used to that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
And
mean, he's really not a very good character. He is a dirtball.
And he did kind of change a little bit in the end too, because he was all like, "Hey, I'm going to take care of you." So I think it was just, I don't know, his character changed too much. Like they wanted him to be seen as this red flag, crazy ex, possessive ex, but then they changed him to be this like caring, I'm going to take care of you, and
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
it didn't make
That was
sense.
that right there felt like 100%. The story needs X, so here's X.
Yeah.
And they didn't really give us a good reason why X was there. And they did that too many times in the movie. There was always a convenient out
Hmm.
every time that they would have an issue. So, um, but also, like I said, it felt like a stage production. So then you could kind of feel like, I mean, sometimes when you watch those kind of things, they have those more naturally because it is easier. It matches with whatever they're going with. So I kind of feel like that might have been what's going on here. But
Yeah.
100%, this movie is the transformation and the science fiction of everything.
Hmm.
And you could tell that that's where they put all their money and all the love and all of the focus on. As long as those things hit right, I think they didn't really care about the other parts.
Yeah. And I didn't even know the baboon had a name. Um, and my question was, I was watching is like, where did he get a baboon? He didn't just get one baboon.
Dude,
He got two baboons.
yeah,
And
yeah.
nobody asked him what happened to the first one.
What's crazy is that he's like you said, he's in a loft. So it's not like
Yeah.
he has them in the at the university. That makes more sense. So he's taken them off of school property or
Yeah.
wherever, and now he's just they're hanging out in a loft. From what I understand, they don't smell good. I think everybody in the area would know that there's a baboon.
Yeah.
So, but
But
yeah,
it
no,
seemed to me that the loft was that building that he was in was completely vacant except for him.
it could have been, and that would make more sense because he is
Yeah,
trying to be secretive, and he's been doing working on this for 6 years. So maybe that's how he's getting away with having baboons and stuff. But
yeah,
um, I think
yeah.
overall, he's a fun, quirky guy. Seth is, and
Hmm.
then as he transforms, he becomes, he gets a god complex really quick, and then I think he realizes. Actually, no, I'm saying he realizes his mortality, but I don't know if he does because I mean it isn't until the last frame that he realizes that the best option is death. So
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of like goes from like denial that something was wrong to, you know what, maybe something's wrong, and oh shit, something's wrong, to, you know what, I'm gonna make the best of this.
yeah, he doesn't flinch at it. That's the funny thing. As he's transforming, he thinks he's dying, but then he quickly turns it into he's just mutating or morphing into something bigger and better.
Yeah.
And then when he's obviously not, when he's shedding every human portion of his body and becoming the fly, he's still hell bent on trying to go through the thing and putting all three of them together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, so
yeah, I don't know
uh
if that's another thing of him being a naive person or if him, that's yeah, all three of these characters are selfish,
hmm
and it's amazing how each one is going about what they're doing, and they all come across as like, oh, we're not selfish, we're doing it for whatever reason, but really every single one of these people are doing it just for themselves.
Yep.
I don't know if they really care about anything other than that.
Yeah. The only one that's not selfish is the baboon.
Yeah,
He's just like, give me some bananas.
yeah. Well, he saw what happened to his brother, so he's probably
Yeah.
just going to be quiet.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just gonna sit here and hope for the best.
Yeah,
So she ends up pregnant. And I put this picture next because I think we'll have a lot to say about the other ones. Um, so I didn't realize until I saw your picture. So this is actually David Cronenberg,
yeah.
who's the doctor.
And I think he
Um,
does a cameo in everything if he's not actually one of the characters.
oh, okay.
And so he's always going to pop up in every movie he does.
Yeah. But this was a really good dream sequence because I remember there was a dream sequence in it. Um, but as I was watching it the other night, I'm like, okay, what's going on? And oh, this must be where she's trying to. I had forgotten the ending part where she was still pregnant. So I thought this was where she went and got rid of the baby and,
Yeah.
you know, um,
Well,
but
I
then what I,
remembered that there is a sequel to this movie called Son of the Fly. So I knew that we were dealing with something
yeah,
else.
yeah. But this is a really good sequence. I really liked how they had they're like, oh, everything's normal. And I was kind of confused by her because it sounded like she was kind of like, I couldn't tell if she was like in labor or if they were doing an abortion.
Yeah, they didn't really come
I
out. They weren't
couldn't
being very
tell.
clear.
Yeah,
And then they're like, "Oh, well, you're gonna have to help push, get it out." And then they pull out this giant larva
yeah,
squiggling, and then I think she's screaming in this one. That might be the only time that she felt authentic, but
yeah,
every other time she's just kind of. It felt like she was mailing it in, but
yeah. I think that's because everybody else in the room was screaming. All
yeah,
the other
yeah,
nurses were screaming. Um, but yeah, it was really a little confusing, but it was pretty decent sequence. And the way they have the larva, um, or the maggot. I kind
very
of,
H.P. Lovecraft.
yeah,
Very all of this makes me think of that. I mean, he's just brilliant at this kind of stuff. I mean, this is what he thrives at. So. Um, he knows how to do body horror. He knows how to do technical stuff, and he's just really good at setting up the stage. So
yeah. Yeah, I remember when you talk about the body horror again. I remember after I had seen this movie, when you're in school and I would bite on my pencil and I would think of his teeth falling out. and I would like not bite on my pencil because of course I was like, oh, it's because he bit on the pencil that his teeth fell out, you know.
Yeah, I mean, pulling his fingernails off and
Oh,
then his
the
hair
ear
going
falls
crazy,
off.
the ear comes off, and that's when he decides to say he needs help. Um,
Yeah,
the only, well, when we get to the pictures of him, then
yeah,
I have a big
yeah.
problem with one aspect of it. So these are the many faces. So he is as he's going on, he's looking worse and worse. Now the second face is when
This
he's
one,
going out picking up chicks. There's nobody on this planet that's going to look at that and be like, "Oh, this is fine."
oh, this guy here, yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
actual second face, yeah,
yeah, he looks like something's wrong. Why
yeah,
would you go and do anything with this guy? You
yeah,
know? And so I was like, that's the only thing I didn't get into. I thought, I get it. He's changing, and that's right. And they really get into it more as we go on, more and more stuff when he starts thinking
hmm
he's morphing into a more amazing being. The other problem I had was the fly itself was so loud as it flew around the studio, as they, because they want us to recognize there's a fly there. So they amped up the noise. But you have to recognize that the actor would hear the same noise that we're hearing.
yeah,
And that thing flew right into that thing, buzzing as
right
loud
by
as it
his
can.
face, yeah,
And he doesn't even look around. He doesn't make sure there's not a fly in there. I get
yeah,
it. He's supposedly drunk, but he wasn't near drunk enough for that that series of events to take place for me to believe in it.
yeah,
So it definitely needed us to be younger so that we just kind of floss over things like that and just enjoy the movie for what it is. But that was 2 points that stood out way too much for me.
yeah,
But um, the horror of the whole thing was, yeah, he Goldblum did a good job. I guess I'm gonna have to eat my words. I guess Goldblum did a very good job the whole way through as he's transforming and crawling around the walls and doing all the
the scene where he's with the canes because he's having
yeah.
trouble walking.
Yeah, he's just
Um,
everything about it's been was decent.
yeah,
I think what it is that by the end of the show, I just didn't like him, the character.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I remember it being a less just not being quite as annoying or abrasive to me. And I
hmm
think maybe it could be that now that I'm older, I'm seeing him as an adult, and I'm thinking, well, you shouldn't be acting like this or doing this kind of stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so maybe that's why he was rubbing me the wrong way. But um,
And the scenes where he like, with Stathis, where he vomits on his hand and his hand
yeah,
melts, and
yeah, that
then
was pretty gross.
he didn't want him to get away, so he vomited on his ankle to make his foot
Yeah.
fall off or whatever. That was pretty cool.
Those were very cool effects. I thought it was funny when he did it on the food in front of her, and then he's like, "Oh, that's gross," and then he
Yeah,
just sat there and waited for it to dissolve so he could eat it and stuff. Um, yeah, some
yeah,
of it was very, I mean, it was done well. There was
mhm,
enough of the horror. It's not really gross, other than when he pulls his nails off,
yeah,
And I remember this movie being much grosser.
yeah,
Um, I do like the fact that they had him morph the entire body instead of just like a giant fly
yes,
head.
hmm
So I think that's good too. Although I do think that it's a fun little thing in the original Fly when the camera pulls in close to the fly and it's got the little man's head on it and he's screaming for help and stuff. I think that's hilarious. But so I think they did a good job of that. But I
yeah,
thought Goldblum did, and it's funny to see because you don't think of Jeff Goldblum like that, but he was ripped like he was in a Marvel movie in this thing. I mean, it had like 1% body fat, maybe,
yeah,
and he's just jumping around doing all this stuff. And I'm sure they had somebody else doing half of it, but
yeah. All
um,
the acrobatics on
yeah,
the
but still, there's close-ups of him standing there talking and stuff, and he's in shape. So it was amazing because you don't really think of Jeff Goldblum in that way. And this might have been well, no, I don't. It's not one of his first as the star. Um, but it might be one of the early ones because I mean
yeah.
he's been around from the '70s and
Well, let me
he's
tell you, you say you don't think about that, but you're a man, and there is a huge cult following of Jeff Goldblum, people who love him and think he's just the hottest thing ever.
oh I get
And
that I get
yeah,
that
And it definitely started back then.
It had to have, right? I mean, but
Yeah.
it's funny because usually you think of him as the thin, nerdy type, but he's
Yeah.
not in this. He's not thin at all. He is ripped.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see. I'm on Wikipedia. Let's see if I can
because
find
they
his.
just both did Transylvania 5-6000. Him
I
and
love that movie. That's
well,
like one
that's
of
where
my favorites.
I think that's where they met and they started dating. And then the next year they do The Fly together. That's like
Okay.
her third movie, maybe sixth or seventh, credit. Now for him though, he had been in other movies as, comic relief, and he's always seen as the quirky kind of buddy in some of these
Yeah.
movies and stuff. But the 80s is when I really remember Goldblum getting more of the spotlight.
Yeah. So his first movie was 1974 in Death Wish.
Yeah, I think he's a thug.
Yeah, he was a thug. Um,
Which I couldn't imagine being, can you imagine Jeff Goldblum as a thug?
yeah, no, not at all. Not at
But
all. Yeah. Transylvania 65000 though is like one of my favorite horror comedies. I freaking
yeah,
love that movie so much.
yeah, I saw it in the theater. I remember seeing it and loving it. And part of the reason why I am a fan of Goldblum was
Yeah.
because of movies like that. Because he would be in all these weird, quirky. Even The Fly's. This is a quirky movie. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
They're pitching these two people, hey, you're not big yet, but we're going to put you in this movie, and this might be the only chance to get to kind of shine as the stars. So maybe that's why they did it. But I can't imagine this was an easy sell.
Yeah. And it's funny. I think I've seen a lot of Jeff Goldblum movies, and I think this may be like one of the only ones he did with he had extensive like prosthetics and
Yeah,
makeup.
yeah, I can't think of another one.
Yeah, because like Transylvania 65000, human. He doesn't do anything.
Oh,
Uh
Earth
Earthgoers
Girls
are
Are
Eevee.
Easy. He's a
Yeah.
cat. The whole thing.
y-
Yeah,
Yeah. But that's just like makeup. That
yeah,
doesn't,
yeah,
it's not as complex as this at all.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, anything else I can think of him besides Earth Girls Are Easy. Like, so could you
yeah. I
imagine?
can't
I
think of
wonder,
anything.
I mean, can you imagine the hours that took? Because that is like full body. And it didn't seem like they had somebody else in the makeup and having just
No,
his voice.
yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I know they did some voice work when somebody was crawling around on the walls and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That probably
Yeah.
was some a stunt guy, but yeah, there's too much up close acting stuff going on, and you really needed his eyes and whatever limited amount of expression he could push through, and he does a really
Yeah.
good job
Yeah.
of
And I wonder if he was
nailing
just
it.
like, you know what, I did that once. I'm not doing that again.
Could very well be. I could imagine somebody like this is very neurotic about. I couldn't imagine sitting in a chair for 12 hours. He's got to be
And
claustrophobic.
claustrophobic
Yeah,
too. Yeah, with like on the face and the body. And they're not just in it for like an hour,
yeah,
and it takes like hours to get in it
and then to get it off too, and
and
then
then to get
maybe
it off,
you know,
so I couldn't even imagine. So kudos to him for sitting through all that. And it's not just like one set of prosthetics, like there's the evolution of,
yeah,
and then we have the final boss.
yeah, the final fly. And it very well done for what we're looking at. It had to have been an animatronic. It looked really realistic. It has a good morph of human and fly characteristics.
And it was
You can,
still a better transformation because the transformation starts when she rips his jaw off, like
right? Yeah,
on
they start
accident.
peeling him, and his
Yeah.
body starts to kind of come off and fall in pieces and stuff.
Yeah, it was still a better transformation scene than that one in The Howling where it took like 8 hours.
That is true. That is very true. And also, for an animatronic, you can actually see the emotion at the end when it wants her to kill him.
Yeah,
That's the other thing, man. He puts the gun to his head, like, "Yeah, you need to shoot me." And she screams, "I can't do it," steps back like 5 feet, and then shoots him
yeah,
without any hesitation. And then you're like, well, that may not have done it because you're so far away. You might have just
yeah,
wounded him when you could have really taken care of it.
yeah,
Um, and then it ends with was it Stathis or whatever, the camera on his face.
yeah,
So he's still alive, but maybe he's dying, and and all that's left up, which is a good way to end it, especially if you're going to do a sequel.
Yeah, and I love
I
how
can't
he's able
remember
to
one
like
thing about it.
shoot the cord of the pod. Like
Yeah.
he was able to like shoot it like with a shotgun like perfectly to bust the connection.
Yeah, which,
Yeah,
might
it's a
have been
movie.
harder to do with the rifle, but um
But
yeah, it
yeah,
was an
definitely.
interesting look. It
Uh-huh.
was has definitely has some psychological horror. It's
Hmm.
100% body horror. Um Way more
Yeah.
science fiction-y than I think than horror.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it was, enjoyable. I just was surprised at how much I didn't enjoy because I remember loving her in this movie.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, ugh, I didn't
Yeah.
enjoy it at all. And maybe it's because I just didn't like her character and I didn't like how she was doing stuff. So it kind
Yeah.
of soured me on the whole thing. I'm like, I'm not sure I'd have finished it if we weren't going to be doing the episode.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's how unplugged I was from the whole thing. I just thought it was really odd. So
Huh.
it's probably the first one that I wasn't like, stoked about when we finished it. Because all the other ones we've done, I've enjoyed discussing it and looking at the different aspects and stuff.
Yeah.
And this one, I'm like, well, I almost wonder if we wouldn't have been better served watching another Cronenberg film and
Hmm.
checking out some of his stuff other than this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Just still amazed with the special effects.
Yeah, no, everything was good about it. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it. I think it's just
Yep.
me. It's probably just me and my
Oh
mood.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't expect to every movie that you saw as a child and liked as a younger person
Yeah,
to hit you the same way when you're an adult, you know?
for sure. And this was funny though, because usually it doesn't do that with me because I'm the one that's very forgiving with these old films and I enjoy all the aspects of what made them unique at the time, and I still see all the kind of you know uh, the pluses to everything. I'm not looking for I'm not trying to tear these films apart or anything.
Yeah. And,
So
and
when
we
I
appreciate what 80s movies were for
yo
what they
for
were
sure,
back then,
yeah,
you know?
and it makes it just it's weird when you see something and you're like, oh, I'm really not connecting with this thing that I used to watch a lot when I was younger, or um,
Yeah.
celebrated or anything like that. I really thought this was going to be one. Actually, I thought it was going to be way grosser than it was. I thought there was going to be a whole bunch of issues, and the
Yeah.
issues I had with it were nothing that I was expecting. So
Yeah. I was still grossed out by the teeth scene.
yeah, and
Um,
the fingernail thing always makes me squirm. I'm not a
yeah.
fan of the fingernail stuff, but yeah, the
I,
teeth. And then he had
yeah.
them all in his medicine cabinet, and that was
Yeah.
kind of because he called it like the memorial.
Yeah. The Seth Brundle Natural History
Yeah, and it was
collection or
all like
something like that.
chunks of his, and one of those things might have been his penis.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
And
course. Yeah.
there's all these different things in there. And that one
Yeah.
wasn't clearly marked.
Yeah, the grossest part to me, though, besides the teeth, was when she comes over and it's the scene where he's got the gloves on and he's walking with the canes, and you can see his shirt, like there's like this goo just seeping through, and she gives him a big old hug.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
ew, like you can't, like, it's gonna stick to you and get all over, and then she didn't have the goo all over her.
right. And that goes back to him going to the bar to pick up the other girl.
Yeah,
She's like later. She's like, "Oh, you reek." And there's goo everywhere, and there's all this. And I'm like, and look at his face. There's no way he would have convinced somebody to go home with him.
yeah, and she
So
wouldn't like. He did kind of forcefully, just like after ripping that guy's arm off or busted his wrist open, he
yeah.
did kind of like pull her out
Well,
of,
he remember she was part of the bet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
But he
so
pulls her out forcefully, but then they're just like casually walking side by side down the street,
yeah. Well, and what's
you
funny though
know?
is, isn't that feel like an '80s thing? The '80s always had that rapey vibe, that
Yeah,
overpower vibe, and so many different movies and stuff that we never blinked at the time.
yeah,
Uh, this definitely has that vibe to it at that point. But yeah, no, it just doesn't make sense when you just look at the whole thing. You would have think, especially in '86, because they're gonna be talking about AIDS and stuff. You
Yep.
take one look at this guy and you're thinking, is this AIDS? Is this what AIDS looks like?
Right?
If you didn't know. So I just don't see how he gets her. And I understand that she was simply just a vehicle for them to get to the fight with him and Gina Davis and stuff.
Yeah.
But and for him to come up with the idea of trying to find another mate, but to make a superior partner or whatever. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't add up. But
Yep.
as an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever, yeah, 10 when this came out, yeah, you just don't even think about it.
Yep.
So
You're just like, oh, that's gross.
yeah, so but um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the
Huh.
day, it's a 7. Seven's really good.
Oh
Everybody,
yeah.
so
Yep.
I wouldn't. And I love the first one, but the first one's a little sillier. Um,
Yeah,
but
I never did watch Son of the Fly or whatever the sequel is. I never
actually, I
saw
think that
that.
Cronenberg has nothing to do with it. I bet I think
Yeah.
that one was just called Fly 2, but it's still the idea. It's the son of the fly, and that he starts to morph into the fly when he hits puberty or a certain age or something like that.
Yeah. But
But
yeah,
that's
so
just a
that was one
cash
of the
grab.
yeah, that was one of the things because like I said, I kind of forgot a little bit that there was a sequel. But at the end of the movie, after the movie was over, I'm like, well, what about the baby? Like, what's happening
I
with
mean,
the
they definitely
baby?
wrote that in for a sequel. It feels like a
Yeah.
cash grab. Now, um, the only thing I wonder is what's the life expectancy of a fly, and would he have just died naturally? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? If
flies
he
still.
wasn't, they can't live that long, so you would think that that would impact
Yeah, let's see.
that. But by that time, he had gone crazy. We didn't even explain what he was trying to do because he transported himself from one pod to another with the fly, and the DNA gets mixed together. He
Yeah,
then decides that if he transports with a normal human and they come out in a different pod, a third pod. So if two things are transported and they go into a third pod, then it would become a perfect human.
yeah,
So he was going to try and morph her, the baby, and himself and become a full blown normal human, which who knows how that would have been an amazing
yeah.
ending to see her face in his chest and his, you
Hmm.
know, a fetus hanging off of his back or something crazy.
Yeah,
Be like the was it the nurse in South Park that has
yeah,
it
yeah,
on her
yeah,
head and stuff.
yeah.
And
Yeah, so
I
life
mean,
and
then you really could have been like, whoa, but
yeah, yeah, life expectancy of a housefly is 15 to 30 days. So it did
so
look like the transformation was progressing quite quickly.
yeah.
So you're right. Maybe he would have just died.
Of course, that's not quite the ending that they were looking for. So I
No,
understand why
yeah,
they
for
sped it
sure.
up. But
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there were other things that could have been causing his manic behavior at the end. But then, of course, once he completely loses his face and he can't speak anymore because that's the fly, he never spoke. Um, I wonder if his thought capacity changed too. Would
Mm.
he? I mean, he still tried to force it. So he did put her in the thing and he got in there so he did know what he was trying to do. So I just wonder if he would have waited like an hour, would he have just wandered off and forgotten what he was trying to do?
Yeah.
Which would have been a hilarious ending too. So
Throw a donut at him. It'll be fine. Put
yeah.
out some
But
sugar.
that's the thing though, is that we're dealing with this movie, and instead of being like, oh, here's this great movie A to Z, when we got to the end of it, I'm sitting here thinking of 1,000 different things we could have done differently and tried different stuff and all these different. And so it doesn't. I don't know if that's probably the problem I'm having with it. Is that some of these movies I'm like, oh no, I get why you did what you did and it's perfect and we don't need to bother with it. This one I feel like has too many loose ends or plot holes or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it really would have been cool to see the end product of the Brundle family.
Yeah,
Um,
that would have been horrifying. And then you
yeah.
got that guy with no ankle and no arm,
Yeah.
and the decision is his. Is he
Yeah.
going to kill this thing? This thing like So um, I don't know. That would have been an interesting what if.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, though, I mean it's fine, and it wasn't too long, and I did enjoy the structure of the story initially. I liked how he
Hmm.
didn't take forever, and
Yep, it
um,
was quickly paced. It was just like boom, boom, boom. They meet, they fall in love, you know.
if you love Goldblum, you'll love him in this because this is everything that he now does exaggerated. This
Hmm.
is the original Goldblum being
Yep.
Goldblum. And so that's kind of cool too, in a way. Yeah, I don't know why. Initially, when we get on here and I say I hated both their performances, I guess I didn't hate his performance. I just didn't like his character.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. His character evolved into somebody that I'm
but I
like,
definitely told Dawn at one point, I said, "Oh, I didn't realize Gina Davis was terrible at the beginning of her career because she was really, I thought she was just too insincere and wooden too many times when she was supposed to be scared or upset or whatever. Now,
yeah.
later, I mean, what didn't she win an Oscar for Thelma and Louise? She
Yep.
definitely got nominated. So
Yep.
later, and I can point to tons of movies. I loved her in um what's that stupid Long Kiss Goodnight. Um she's good in the pirate movie she did, even though that one wasn't celebrated. Yeah, I can't think of what it's called, but there's enough movies I've seen her in that I liked her. But
Yeah.
but I'm wondering, I want, maybe if we go back and start visiting her older movies that I haven't seen in a long time, am I going to be like, oh wow, okay, I bought into whatever they were selling me and not really paying attention to the fact that she's terrible. So that might be my new assignment for 2026. I might go dig up all her old movies and start watching them.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to say probably in Transylvania 65000, she's like that.
But
But I think that's,
she's a big bosom vampire chick, but she's supposed to
yeah.
be terrible in that. So.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was just going to say.
And
I
that
think,
might be why I fell in love with her at an early age of 9. I could have been like, whoa, what is this?
yeah, in that
So,
like skimpy
yeah.
vampire
Yeah,
costume.
for sure. I get it. But
Yeah.
it's like Julianne Moore. I can't stand Julianne Moore, and she's an Oscar winner and stuff. And a lot of people celebrate her stuff. I can't stand her. So maybe that's just it. Maybe she just
Yeah.
falls under that umbrella.
Maybe. But yeah. All right. Well, that's our thoughts on the Fly movie. I really am going to start searching for a copy of that Out of Time. I'm
Yeah, that'll
definitely
be interesting to see.
not going to pay a whole bunch of money, of course. Definitely not paying $600 for a paperback.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
In this day
So
and age, it's crazy that there's still stuff out there you can't just find digitally.
yeah, and it's 1964 it was published, so it should be public domain. So I'm surprised somebody, or maybe not 64 being public domain, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. This is weird.
Yeah, because I was like, wouldn't be surprised. Like they do it all the time with like Poe and
Yeah.
uh, uh, Lovecraft. Like people will
Yeah, but
just
I think it has to be
publish.
100 years.
Okay, all right.
And then it goes through some sort of court system if they don't want it to be public domain.
Okay, all right.
So
So maybe it's too early for that then.
yeah, but
Um, but I'm
we've
surprised
been
it's
told
like
that.
not somewhere.
Yeah, that is the weird thing because in this day and age, we should be able to find pretty much everything. I mean, that's our
Yeah,
biggest complaint is that everybody's got it so easy now they can find everything. So it's
yeah,
always weird when you can't find one thing. So
yeah. Well, if I can find it and I can read that short story, um, I'll do like a little short on just myself on comparing it, to the movie.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, check it out. You can find The Fly. I watched it on Hulu, Disney Plus, because Hulu is
Yeah,
now part of Disney Plus, so I was able to watch it for free there. But I believe you can rent it on Amazon Video as well. Um, and of course,
you can get a 7-day free trial for Hulu and Disney now, I think.
yeah,
So you can see it for free if you need to.
yep. But if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
It's an interesting body horror. If you like H.P. Lovecraft and if you like Cronenberg, it's definitely worthy of a Cronenberg film. So
hmm
I might push it down a little bit if we were going to do a ranking of all of his films. Maybe it's near the bottom, but that's still a great movie, in the broader sense. So
yeah. And maybe that's something we can do in 2026 is start looking at Cronenberg movies. And then
oh
maybe
yeah,
towards the end of the year we can rank them. Maybe
yeah,
that would
maybe
be
we
a
should
good
do that.
project.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could do that. That'd be fun. I'd
yeah,
love to revisit some of his stuff.
yeah. And get a nice ranking for the end of the year. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode.
Take it easy.